Put on your mental track shoes and run with me. This is the Powwow with Myra. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Powwow. Today's guest, we have Hunter. Hunter, thanks for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
So Hunter he's an upcoming content creator here in the DFW area, raising awareness for mental health and cancer and anything that has to do really with mental health, which is a lot of things that I'm excited to cover
Yes,
today.
ma'am.
So Hunter, tell me where did you grow up and
I originally grew up in a small town in Tennessee. The name is Covington, Tennessee.
mm,
It's a small population, probably 10,000. Compared to Arlington, DFW area. Um, uh, and it's like a close knit community. Especially back then, we with it being a small town like that, you knew everybody.
mm,
Um,
who did you grow up with?
I can start as far as back. I was actually adopted
Mm,
by my grandparents
okay.
because my mother um she actually left us on the porch, me and my brother. Um I was actually drinking out of an oil can on the porch. My brother, he had been taking care of me for couple weeks, changing my diaper. And my grandparents found us, and they were good enough to take us in, and raise us. I believe at the time I was like 6 months. And I don't really remember too much um during that time, but I just know it was hard on my grandparents, because they were still young. Um, they had just raised the my uncle, my granddad. My uncle, my dad, and for someone to raise their own kids and then turn around and raise the grandkids, it's like uh, they need to be heroes.
They are.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like you don't understand how much sacrifice that they're having to um or how much they sacrifice because nowadays, it's like we don't some people may not want kids because they want to go party,
Hmm.
or go out on town or and all that. And the fact that they sacrificed everything to raise us. I'm personally forever grateful for them. Um,
Yeah. How old was your brother?
my brother at that time, um, 3 or 4.
Three
Um,
or four.
and then my oldest brother, he was probably 5 or 6. They're like a year apart, so
Okay.
um, they might.
So was it did your mom leave the three of you? So it's you and two brothers?
Yes, ma'am. She left us all.
The three of you.
Yes, ma'am, over drugs. Um, and I mean, before all that, I do remember a point where she did kind of try to drown us. We were on a boat, and I specifically remember her and a guy named Kane had us on a boat, and she was wanting to they threw us in the water. And it was so scary because once we made it back um to the house, we actually found her leaned back on the couch with the needle in her arm. Just still thinking about it to this day, it's almost like, man, we really did go through a lot growing up, and for me, I feel like dealing with that growing up, I feel like it made me a better person today,
Mm.
because of the childhood drama, or trauma.
Trauma.
Dealing with that and um just dealing with all the being around the drugs, from the mother.
So when you went to live, did you and your brothers, you went and moved in with your grandparents?
Yes, ma'am.
How, and did she basically raise you, or did you end up, or did your mom end up like taking over you guys at some point in the future, or did you hear back from your mom?
So we went and stayed with our grandparents, which is actually my dad's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she she took care of us without my mother being in the picture. Basically all the way up to about sorry, all the way up to about 7, 8 maybe.
Mm,
Um, is when she randomly decided to show up.
mm.
She she basically showed up and was like, "I'm here."
Do you remember seeing her when she showed up?
I remember seeing her because she tried to take us to Family Dollar and buy us stuff and made it almost seem like nothing ever happened.
Mm.
And and it's just like, wait, you can't just show up, and just forget about, what went on in the past.
And she hadn't tried to have any kind of communication with you prior to when she showed up?
No,
Nothing.
it was literally she came into town. She knew exactly where we stayed. Um, we stayed at little apartments called Broadmeadows. Um, and she just shows up and comes in like, uh, can y'all go to the store with me? And just try to make it seem like everything was fine.
Mm,
Um, and she was apparently dating some guy in town. Um, and so we gave her a chance. We said, okay, she seems like she's, got clean. So we went and stayed with her and her boyfriend in town, and you don't really know what's going on behind doors. Um, but supposedly he was beating on her really bad. Um, which I'm hoping to get to the point of the story where I've actually recently started talking back with her.
mm.
But that's when she had told me about the him beating on her. Cuz I brought it up because a funny situation happened. He had a BB gun, and um I'm a kid. I'm like 7, 8, you know. I saw a basketball go there, and all I see is the backboard, has a square on it. And as a kid, I'm like, that's a target.
Right.
So I went outside, with the BB gun, pop, 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 pop,
Yeah.
and I shattered the glass, and man, it made him so mad. And I only feel like it made him want to be her more.
Mm.
And I don't know at the time if she was still on the drugs. But she I mean, you could tell she was going through something.
Mm.
Um,
As a
and
kid, you knew that.
yeah, I could tell um whether it was after her and my dad separated, or I mean, you could just kind of tell the drugs just take over.
Mm.
And it's what it is the drugs is a devil,
Mm.
you know. Cuz once you get on them, it's so hard to get off, and it just takes over um your daily activities.
Mm.
Um
It takes over your mind.
yeah, it takes over your mind, and for a lot of people on drugs, it stops them from eating, um drinking, and then on top of that, with her being physically abused, I can only imagine, how she felt, mentally.
Inside.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I mean, I know what she did to us at a younger age, but and me and my brother, we had recently, had a conversation about it. We were like, we don't really know how she was, what everything she was going through at that time,
Mhm.
um, because
So where is your dad in the picture, even at 6 months when your parents found you and your brothers?
I actually never really had a conversation with my grandparents to find out.
D
Um,
did you ever meet your dad?
yeah, so
Yeah.
we actually did grow up with them.
Okay.
Um, but um, unfortunately, he died when I was 10.
Mm.
He had a tragic accident. He fell 18 feet through the roof. Um, which it was actually the store's fault because he was a roofer. But the whole roof was black,
Mm,
but it had skylights. Um, and with the whole roof being black, you don't know if you're about to step on a skylight.
mm.
And he was on his lunch break, and he stood, he got up, took one step back, and his neck snapped at the bar below him, and
Oh.
we were told that that's what instantly killed him. And then he hit the ground. There was a lady who was standing out. Um, she was taking a smoke break, and she actually knew him. And when she saw it happen, it scarred her.
Oh, man, I can't imagine
Um,
just witnessing something so tragic like that.
yeah, and that was another child trauma, that that I had to go through.
So you grew up was when you were living with your grandparents, did you dad live with you guys
Yeah,
or
like he
okay.
he stayed with us. He worked to help provide us.
At that point was he wasn't with your mom?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
At that point, as far as we know, our mother, um, she was still in either Alabama or Mississippi, somewhere in the southern states. Um, so we wasn't really sure, where
Mm.
she might be, or at that point it was we had basically gave up on, the hopes of her, you know, getting better. Um,
Did you was your dad involved in drugs as well?
so I know this is a tricky topic, but um, my dad was a drinker. Um, he also liked his weed. But the one thing about him was he may have bought his weed, he may have drank, but he always tried to make sure we
Mm.
were taken care of.
Was your mom in like different kinds of drugs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that was
my
okay.
mom was on the heroin, the crack,
Mm.
the really hardcore stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I always give my dad credit that, like I say, he might
Mhm.
have been an alcoholic and, did his weed, but he still stuck by us.
He was always there.
He was always there. He always, gave us money to go to the store, get us something to drink or buy us food. And when he had passed away that time, he was working to get us shoes for school.
Mm.
Um, and it just uh and a lot of people would criticize him because of him being on the weed and the alcohol. But I'm like, I would much rather be in that situation than, just be left in the dust,
Yeah.
and not have no support at all,
Right.
from your own parent.
Right. So then, so that you're living with your mom, you and your brothers. And at 7, you moved in with her around 7 ish.
Yeah, I believe it was around 7-ish.
And then it sounded like it was momentarily. Did you what happened? Did you continue living with her, or was there a moment where that got rocky again?
I think it got rocky again. I think she was continuing with the drugs
Mm.
and all that, and um that's when. So actually about that, the reason why we had actually left from, staying with her and her boyfriend, she got tired of being abused, and apparently this guy had like $12,000 in his safe, and she found out and broke the safe and took the safe with her and his vehicle and fled the state.
Mhm.
And that's when we went back and stayed with our grandmother. And that was like the final, that was the final straw.
Mm. How long did you live with her before that happened?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Um, I still like to think about the stories, and try to get as much factual information that I can. Um, but I haven't really, I've recently talking with her, I've been trying to get her to open up.
Mm.
Um,
How long ago did you reconnect with her?
it was very recent, 2 or 3 months ago, actually.
Oh, oh, very recent.
Um, and she apparently probably right before that, right before I had just got back in contact with her, she had called another pel what's the word? Paraphernalia.
Okay, yeah.
She caught another charge of that, because she had a pipe on her. Plus she had suspended license and all that. And so the judge basically told her, you either do 15 years in prison, or you go to rehab. And but it wasn't just rehab, it was you do rehab, you complete it, and then you have about 10 years on probation. Um and she was telling me all about that, and we had been doing FaceTime while she's, in therapy. Um she was telling me, she had just got her teeth, all her teeth basically taken out because of, the drugs ate all her teeth up.
Mhm.
And the dentist gave her new teeth. And she was generally just trying to um
Get
trying
get herself together.
yeah, trying to get herself together. She what what still gets me to this day is, just talking with her, she still just acts like nothing ever happened.
Mhm.
It's the child in me is just like, can you, can you apologize to me that you did it?
Acknowledge it,
Yeah,
something.
acknowledge, the moments, where, I walk in and, you got a needle stuck in your arm, like, I still have that image in my head, it's almost like a demons in my head,
Mm.
just from seeing it, you know, um, and that's one of the things, that's one of the situations that, that seeing that, and then losing my dad, um, and the knowing the sacrifice that my grandparents made, for us, it just it really made me want to do better for this world, and try to help so many different people, um, because you just don't know what people are going through or what they, went through.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why, that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to open up, um, cuz I feel like someone's going to be listening, and they may be going through a similar situation,
Mhm.
and hopefully it would allow them to open up. And
And that they're not alone, right?
right,
And that
exactly.
there's other people maybe fighting that same fight, and everybody's essentially fighting a fight, which is, to just get better and be careful and not getting into those situations where they lose total control, like maybe your mom did.
Yeah.
Like just allowing them to just get taken over by drugs. Um, so that's very admirable, what you're doing, especially with what you went through, and you still have all this love and hope to to help the people. And I know from talking to you that that didn't come so easy. Um, and we'll get there. But for the in the meantime, how was your relationship with with your brothers? Growing up, how was what was your
Grow
experience?
so growing up with my brother that actually would change my diaper and all that, um, we had a fantastic relationship. Um, you know, to this day, I still have so much respect for him for doing that for me.
Mm,
Because you know I still haven't really, talked about him or talked with them about, the struggles that he made of, that, he faced dealing with that. Cause I can only imagine, seeing that, going through that, and then, plus you're having to take care of your younger brother.
yeah.
Um, it's just like, I know what I went through, but, I could only imagine what, what he faced. Um, and so as we started growing up and everything, um, we just got extra close.
Mm,
I had actually at one point gave him a nickname Bubba. And so, every time he would leave somewhere or whatever, I'll be like, Bubba, where'd you go?
mm.
And that was like my nickname for him, that um and
What about your oldest brother?
my oldest brother, I didn't really have the greatest relationship with him. I mean, um, growing up, I don't know, I don't know if the stuff that he went through with her,
Mm,
um, I don't know how it really affected him mentally, but um, he he'd actually beat on me growing up. Um, I got bullied by my own brother, my own big brother.
mm,
um all the time, just out of nowhere, just beat on me, hit on me. I couldn't defend for myself because my younger self was just so big. I because I've always dealt with the obesity,
mm.
even at a younger age. I don't know if it's from dealing with all the trauma, but I've always just been the bigger person in the room. And it was just so hard, when you're a bigger person, and everyone sees you different. Um, I don't know everything that he went through. I don't know if that had an effect on, maybe he needed to get the anger out,
Mhm.
um, and so it was like, I still love him, because he's my brother, but at the same time, it's just like, why me? You
Yeah.
know, um,
Did that relationship get better as time went by? How is it today?
I mean, I still talk to him from time to time, but um, he had actually a couple years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, he had actually reconnected with our mother. Um, before I had recently connected with her, and she gave him a bus ticket to go to Alabama to meet up with her. Because apparently she had a shrimp boat business down there. And he went down there, in hopes of making money and this or that. And um, about a year went by. I think he was down there, and he came back. He came back so much more mentally messed up.
Oh.
We think it has a lot to do with she getting him on the drugs. Um, there's been stories that he may have possibly gotten sexually abused on the boat, um, whether it's from her or multiple guys. Um,
How
he
how did he what did he show that just seemed he was messed up, or that
he
he didn't come better than how he left?
it was just the way that he acted,
Mm.
um and and the way he is now, like, being in a room, talking to yourself out loud, answering yourself. Like he's never done that before.
Mm.
And we didn't notice it until, when he came back. It was almost like it's almost like he got scarred,
Mm.
and he's gotten so bad now that, he doesn't want to work. Um, he basically says all these celebrities have babies by him. And I he will forever be my brother, but um, if I want that close relationship, with him, I need him to get the help.
Mhm.
Because I'm gonna be honest, there were nights where when I was staying with my grandparents, um, I was scared to leave my bedroom door open. Because I would think that, being physically assaulted by him, um, um, I'ma actually be open right now. Um, he actually sexually molested me. Um, and dealing with that, be getting beat on by him. Um, it 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 was so scary being around him ever since then. Um, and to be honest, it took it took a lot of it took a lot of courage to open up to my wife about that. Because it felt like I had a you know it felt like I had this demon in me that was holding me back from it to, really open it up. um and then I opened up to the whole family about it.
Mm.
um you know I forgive him. um but at the same time, it's just like, why me? Why did it have to be me? Like, why did you put me through so much, growing up? And then, you know my middle brother, um he he never really wanted to stay around, because, we grew up in a poor family. We didn't have the vehicles, um we didn't have all these fancy stuff, fancy clothes. It was a typical struggle growing up. But my brother always wanted, he always wanted the better things. So he would go and stay with people that had the money, that could buy him outfits for school, or make him look real good. And so, growing up, I didn't have, for a good portion, I didn't have my middle brother.
Mm.
And so my big brother was there, and it was just me.
Yeah.
And you know
You were his punching bag being the little brother.
yeah, so it's like I don't have anyone here to, help defend for me. So um
Would you tell your grandparents that he would like hit you and he would bully you?
I, I mean, I tried to talk with them about it, but um it was always, it always felt like an excuse, like he's not all the way there.
Mm.
um it's and we would tell him all the time, like, you need to get the help. um but he never wanted to get the help, and he still doesn't want to get the help. And it's just, um it worries me because before my dad had died, um he had another baby by another lady. And my sister was only 2 weeks old before he died.
Mm.
And the fact that, um and this is why I have so much respect for my grandparents, because not only did they raise, you know my dad and my uncle, and us, but they also raised our sister.
Mm.
So that's almost like three different generations. And but at the same time, and I still worry. I still worry that, would he beat on her? Would he sexually assault her? Um, it's still those moments, make me think that, would he do it? Because, he did put me through it.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, she's she's never said anything to me, but I also know how hard it is to open up, you know, to the world, to tell people, because how scary it is, and how they may see you different.
Mm.
Um, but at the same time, I'm me regardless of my past, and what I'm trying to do now is, I'm trying to let people know that, it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
That, you don't have to let your past or what you're currently going through, you don't have to let it,
Define you.
yeah, define you as a person, you know. And so,
Agreed.
that's
So,
why,
are you still in touch with your sister?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we talk all the time actually, and I actually wanted to get her down here, and let her experience the big city,
Mm.
big DFW area. Maybe take her to like Six Flags or uh was it Hurricane Harbor?
Hurricane Harbor. Yeah.
Yeah, just let her have fun, let her be a kid,
Yeah.
cuz she still deals with the, not having, them not having money,
Mm.
um not having food sometimes. My grandparents still call, time to time, and they'll tell me if they don't have food. And you know, and with me and the wife, we're already going through our battles. It's kind of hard to sacrifice us to give to them. With the inflation and everything so high, and
Right. Right. So, so then in high school, when you were in high school, what was your life like?
my life in high school was miserable. I was 100% bullied, from freshman year all the way up, to 11th grade. And it only got worse, because I had actually dropped out the middle middle portion of 11th grade year,
Mm.
because I just couldn't take it anymore. And I'm sure there's still high school students out there that deal with that, or have experienced being bullied. And um I don't know if anyone can relate, but it is terrifying to sit on the school bus and you turn around and you look at someone, and as soon as you turn back around, they slap you in the back of your head as hard as they can, all because you're fat, and you turn around and look at them. It's it's the hardest thing to I still think about it all the time. Um it's it's I can only imagine what some of these kids still go through.
And did it happen at school too?
Yeah,
Or yeah.
yeah, like being in the classroom, me being a bigger person, I come in the room, and I am the biggest person in the room. Um and you're sitting there, you're trying to do your paper, you're trying to do your work, and you just get paper balls thrown at you. You get pencils thrown in the back of your head. Um it was just so hard to try to focus on, doing my schoolwork. Um and it's like, why do I have to go through this? Why can't I just have a regular, you know,
Day.
a regular day? Um, just let me do my schoolwork and go home.
Mhm.
And through that whole high school experience, um, honestly, it made me it that's one thing that made me feel like, it made me a better person.
Mm.
Because it only made me stronger.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest things that we go through as humans only make us stronger.
Agreed.
in the end, because it's like, I could run into a situation now and think about, what I went through as a kid or my high school years. It's just like that's not nothing compared to what I went through,
Right.
So, it's like I can get through this, I can push through it.
Mhm.
And that's why I wanted to make my slogan, keep pushing.
Keep pushing, I like that.
Because, at the end of the day, you gotta keep going.
You gotta
Um,
keep going. I heard this phrase once, which I love because in every learning curve, at some point you're gonna, if you're trying something new, you're gonna fail, and you really fail, but you don't really fail. You really fail until you quit, right? So one of the, I guess, slogans or whatever it is, I guess, it's that fall forward because you're gonna fall, but you don't want to fall backwards. You want to fall forward, which is kind of like similar. You keep pushing, right? Keep
yeah,
pushing. Things are gonna come up, you know, that you can't control, but just keep pushing, fall forward.
yeah. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know your religion, um, but at the end of the day, God's gonna put you through. He's gonna put you through obstacles, um, but there's ways to get over those obstacles.
Right.
And that's why I always try to make the keep pushing, because it may be hard right now. You might want to give up. You might, when I was dealing with my depression, the thought of suicide, just got deeper and deeper, you
Hmm.
know, but you know, something told me to, hang in there.
Mm.
Something told me to keep pushing,
Keep pushing.
keep going, don't give up. Knowing that, I got brothers, I got a sister, I got a wife, I got family, who they all knew it because I told them, like, I specifically remember one day um I was on a bridge. um I can't remember exactly what bridge. It's around here, but I was on the phone with my grandmother, and I told her, I said, I'm finna do it. I said, I'm finna take this car and I'm finna drive straight off this bridge. I said, cause I'm so tired of fighting.
Mm.
And what still amazes me to this day is I don't know what really wanted me to do it, cause I have a beautiful wife. I have her family. We have our own place. We have dogs. At the time, yeah, I had a job, but could it been the job? Could it been the job that was stressing me out so bad that it gave me the depression? I'm still not sure, but um, I'm just glad that I didn't give in. Because when it comes to suicide, what we don't realize is how much impact you doing that can have on your family, your relatives, um, or
Everybody around you,
yeah, or just yeah, everyone
even
around.
including your dogs.
Right, right. It's like it can have so much impact, and just everything that you do, it has an effect on somebody. Whether or not you actually think it or realize,
Hmm.
every little thing has an impact on somebody around you.
Agreed.
Um, and so um, that was a journey.
I'm gonna put a pinpoint on that, and I'm gonna come back to because I do want to talk more about that specific scenario,
Okay.
and how that came. But I'm gonna take it back to high school. You're getting bullied. You can't take it anymore. So, in halfway through your junior year, you drop out.
Yeah, so
because you didn't want to. You were literally, y- I mean, you were leaving more, not more so leaving school, but you were leaving the bullying.
yeah,
It was
like
a did I understand that correctly? Was
yeah,
it the bullying?
it was the bullying, but it wasn't just one person doing it. I mean, it was multiple individuals.
Mm.
And honestly, that probably was the hardest part of my life more than the growing up part. Because like I said, I'm sure there's a lot of kids out here that can probably relate to that. Of how scary it is knowing that you're being forced to go to school, and you specifically know what you're going to deal with that day. And it's just like that's why I wanted to just run late, or just try to skip, um because it's so rough. You know, and
So what did you do next? Right when once you decided, okay, I'm not coming back to this life. What do you do next as a junior?
so when I left um the middle of the year, 11th grade, um at the time, we were still getting death benefits from my dad, which wasn't much at the time. I still wish that they would have set up a uh
Like a savings, an
yeah,
IRA account?
like a savings. So when you turn 18, we could have used that money, to really start off our life. But the judge made it where it was like 260 something dollars a week, that we had to split between the four of us. And so my $60 or whatever it is that I was getting, I wanted to use it for homeschool. So I wanted to, still get my schooling, but, not be around all the bullying
Mhm.
and all that. But the cost of homeschool was just too much for us financially.
How did your grandparents take your decision to drop out?
I mean, they wasn't 100% happy about it, but at the same time, I'm sure they understood, my situation and what I was going through.
Did they ever try talking to the school? I know sometimes that doesn't do much, but did you know,
They
did
didn't really they didn't
no.
really they just let me go.
Mm. Did
Um
they know you were getting bullied?
I don't really think I really opened up to them
Okay.
about it. Honestly, for all I know, I probably told them a different situation,
Okay.
because I didn't really know what they would think of it.
Mhm.
Um but
Do you think that that might do you think like maybe if other students are going through something similar, do you think it's something like afraid to speak up maybe or
I think it is. I think it
what do you think what do you think kept you from seeking help from
uh,
an adult?
um I think it was the fact that, if I had spoken out, and told teachers or told other students, I felt like
It was going
the
to get worse.
yes, it was the
Mm.
word was gonna come around, and it would have got back to the bully or
Mm.
bullies,
Worse.
and just thought it would make the situation worse.
Mm.
So it's one of those things. Um, and I've read up on a lot of stories of these high school kids getting bullied, and they would go in the bathroom and just kill themselves, like right there, because of the pain that they go through.
Right.
um
So you're strong. I mean, there's so much you went through not right before even these terrible years in high school. You've already had a rough childhood and then, you come to high school and it gets worse. Um and but yet, you keep pushing and I love what you're doing now because you're not just speaking of, hey, this is what's going on, let me bring some light into this like it's you speaking from experience, like this is what you went through. Or not this is not what you went through, but this is these are things that happen, and yet you still have like even today you have that 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 thought, that drive to help others. And so I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad you're sharing your word. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, because you can relate with other people that maybe need help. So it's like it's not you read it off of a textbook, is you lived it.
Yes, ma'am.
you know um so that's very, very inspiring. So then what do you do next? So then the homeschool didn't work out.
It didn't work out, and I just honestly, just mentally, I just took a couple years, of not really doing anything. Just I know it was still a struggle then because like I said, the financial part was just you know barely making ends meet. Um, especially with my grandparents being on disability, at such young ages. Um, it was nobody was working. So it was a struggle, but it was just another obstacle that it made me feel, like I said, it made me feel stronger. Um, you know,
So when do you decide to, hey, it's time to get up and do something?
well, what made it so hard is the fact that, growing up, we really didn't have transportation.
Mm.
So, that made it so much harder because um you didn't really have many people you could rely on, take you to go put applications in for jobs, or take you to the grocery store. A lot of times we would just have to walk, cuz there was no way to get around. May have to take a bus to the doctor. Um
So it's three years. You kind of take a break. What do you do in those 3 years?
Honestly, just because at the time there's no social media.
Right.
It was a lot of that was playing basketball
Mm.
because that generally was something that I love to do. It gave me the exercise. Um, also, I was doing like church league basketball. So it wasn't like I was out there like doing drugs or anything like that. I was just basically using sports to kind of help me mentally, kind of help me get through it.
Like a reset.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
reset. And um you know and then it finally got to that point where it's like, okay, I didn't finish school, so I need to very least go get my GED. And I was lucky at that time to be my cousin's chauffeur, basically, because she had lost her license, and she had a car but she couldn't get around. So I had got my license and just started driving her around. And it gave me that opportunity to go, go get my GED.
Mm.
And I'm grateful for that because um, I
Yeah.
I was able to get that GED, and it gave me some sort of start.
Yes. Yes.
Especially with everything that I had to go through. It wasn't that feeling of actually graduating, getting to throw your cap in the air. Like me and the wife, we've been watching Degrassi, and seeing episodes of them, throwing their caps in the air. It's just like, man, I wish that was me. I wish I had gotten to experience that.
But I'm glad, was it your it sounds like it was your own choice to go back and get your GED.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it was your own choice. Nobody made you do it.
no, like
See, that's very inspiring, because you almost had to take a break for your own mental health self. Maybe you didn't know it at the time when you dropped out.
Yeah,
But
like
it sounded like it was pretty bad where you had to quit to kind of, take a breath. It was affecting you mentally, it sounds like.
yeah, and I feel like even as adults nowadays, we tend to forget um to give our brains a mental reset. You know, like my wife is she's a dog groomer here in the DFW. She has her own shop and everything, and all the time she's doing 6 7 days of working, and it's taking so much mentally on her, and my own personal dream is to do this movement, um and be able to do it full time, you know and I try to tell people all the time, like, you know I want to do this movement, but at the same time, I got to have some sort of financial support behind it, and people will look at it and they're just like, oh, you're just trying to do it for that, or you're just trying to do it for the cloud, or and I'm like, you don't know what I went through growing up. It wasn't just about the depression. It was what I grew up, what I faced. um it might have took the depression to the point where you know, it really made me sit down and think, like, man, I really did go through a lot, growing up, and I just know that I'm sure there's somebody out here in this world that, you know, is either going through this similar situation, have a similar past that they went through, and I just feel like, um doing these interviews with people, allowing other people to open up
Yeah.
and tell their
Kinda like a
pat.
community you're building.
Yeah, like I'm trying to build a community where, it's okay to come and talk about, what you're going through, um, you know, what what challenges you went through growing up,
Yes.
basically letting people know, like, this is a no judgment zone, that it doesn't matter your race, your religion, um, how big you are, how little you are, that, you know, at the end of the day, we're humans,
Right.
and that it's okay to open up to a random person that you don't know, because, like I said, they may be going through it too.
Right. At the end of the day, we're all people,
Right. Right.
and we
And
need each other, either for success or to reach success, for support, for our sad days, for our happy days. We need people, and family. Sure, that's always nice when it's there, but then a lot of times other people end up becoming like family. And so it's I feel like you are on your way to start a community and raise awareness, and just build create a space for people to feel safe and talk and start or continue their journey to being better, for them to get to the point where they can now share their stories and how they got through it. And they may say, hey, started by watching Hunter's videos, and that got me started.
and I actually have one of my supporters. um he came across one of my videos, and he had already, like, lost his grandparents, and he came across one of my videos, and he came up to me and he was like, man, I was so close to just giving up. And he said, I came across one of your videos, and it was like something about you in that video, just it made me see that, you're a real genuine person, and you're just trying to do good in this world. And now it's like I can just post any video now, and he's 100% behind me, with
Yeah.
me in this movement. Um and then I have another guy, His name is Jesse. Um, he we exchanged numbers on TikTok, and now he's like a brother. He's almost became like a manager.
Yeah.
um,
I'm telling you, it's like sometimes people just become like part of your family. So
yeah,
that's yeah.
cause like now he had actually brought up the idea of doing a podcast together.
Mm,
And going over mental health stuff, or he was like, we could even go over sports. He was just like, you don't understand how many people are just like you for you. Um, you know, Even if it is about the awareness, he was like, just you being on camera, he was just like, you never realize what that video really does for someone.
mm,
And the fact that I got these people, messaging me, like I said, every video I post, they would like it. Um, it just genuinely makes me the happiest person to see it,
yeah.
and to see the comment saying that video touched them. Um, it gives me this, it gives me hope,
Mm,
that there's still good people out there in this world, and that if we just come together, build up a good community, that you know we can all help each other through our days,
definitely.
especially the bad days. um
Definitely.
you know
So after you get your GED and sorry, taking it back, what do you do next?
so after I got my GED, I had got my first job. I was a cashier at Dollar General. um which was fine and all, but I just knew it wasn't, it just wasn't for me. Um, and this, I actually have a lot of respect for retail workers, because the stuff that they have to go through, um, it doesn't get talked enough. Because when I was a cashier and dealing with that, you deal with so many different people that come in there, that they themselves are going through something. Um, I mean, I've seen people walk in happy, smiling. I've seen people walk in and it just looked like, it almost looked like they got hit by 18 wheeler. They walk in and you can just tell something's going on, and you ring them up, and you literally, all you say is, "Hey, how are you?" And they'll come back and say, "Just ring up my damn stuff."
Mm,
You could just tell that they're going through something. And that was like, I was like another part, in my life. Like, it's just like, man, we just got to come together, because you know everyone is going through something, whether it's the abuse, the financial part, the depression, PTSD, cancer,
addictions.
addiction. It's like we all have, this world would be a better place if we just, come together and just, treat each other like family, instead of treating each other like stranger danger.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. It's
I,
like treat others how you want to be treated.
yeah, exactly. And it's you know, dealing with the working there, and um, you know, going through like five different managers. And there were some good ones, there were some bad ones. And then there was one that came in, and it was like the line for me. Um, and so that probably lasted probably like 5 months, I would say.
So you
Uh,
went through like 5 managers in about 5 months.
yeah, it was like a manager a month. I
Wow.
mean, it was. I was just like, good grief, like, let me be the manager.
Right.
I'll figure it out or something. I mean, I was only 18, but you got to learn somehow.
Right, right. So when did you decide uh or what did you do next, or what led you to end up wanting to move states?
Um, so what kind of led to that was, You know, still staying with the grandparents. You know, it got to the point where I had called my real grandpa's brother. He was a lot better financially off. And I had reached out to him, and I knew he had the money. But I was too afraid to ask for help. Cuz I didn't want to be judged. But at the same time, like, when I was staying with my grandparents, like right before I moved to Texas, um every day, it almost felt like I was going through a depression part then.
Mm.
Because with us not having a vehicle, couldn't get around. Like, I couldn't. I mean, I could like walk up to Walmart, apply there, but um, my grandpa, my real grandpa's um wife worked there, and every time we would go to put an application in, she would basically kick it out because she didn't want our family to work up there. And so, the knowing that I couldn't financially work, I mean, I just couldn't work, um, because I couldn't get around. And then on top of that, I knew my grandparents needed somebody there,
Mm.
um, because, with their health and everything, like, so when I say grandpa, he raised us, but he wasn't like my biological grandpa.
Mm.
My biological grandpa, um, he really didn't have much to do with us growing up.
And this is on your dad's side, right?
Yes, on
Okay.
my dad's side, cause I never knew my mom's parents, or
Oh.
um, so it was all my dad's side. And the only time he wanted to come around was like, he'll like buy something for Christmas, and then from there it was like, we don't see him for a while. I mean, it didn't help that we didn't have a car, but he it almost was like, he wanted us to call, and he would come and get us. But um, I grew up, uh, I wasn't in building cars and stuff. He would have like an old car in the garage, and he would want us to come out and help. And um, I was always a sports guy.
Mm.
I didn't really care about the cars and stuff. I just wanted to watch my football and basketball,
Mhm.
or just go out there and play basketball. Um, so, it was almost like, well, if you don't want to build car with me, then I really don't want anything to do with you,
Mm.
kind of
That's how you
thing.
felt.
Yeah, that's how it felt. It's like, um, you know, can you just be my grandpa? Like, do I have to really help you build this car?
Right.
For you to do anything? Have anything with me? Take me somewhere. Um, he he was a Vietnam veteran.
Mm.
So I have respect for him on that aspect. But as far as being my grandpa, it's like, um he didn't want to help you unless you worked. But I mean, he knew we didn't have a car at all, growing up. And what still kind of gets me to this day is, um yes, he's my daddy's dad, but when we lost our dad, he's the one that took over the negotiations for the settlement. Um, he actually took most of the money and only left us so much until we turned 18.
Mm.
And it was almost like, um, when we ran out of our funds, we knew he still had, some money um from that. And he just didn't want to help. He didn't want to help us get a vehicle or anything. He told us, if we want it, you gotta go work for it.
Mhm.
But he don't understand how hard it is to not have a vehicle, not be able to get around to, go find the work. And especially if, you personally don't have the popularity, you know, not that many people, knew us.
Mm.
They knew our dad, but they didn't knew us, and it was so hard, dealing with that. And so, I knew his brother, we had his number, and I just reached out to him, I told him the situation. He had asked me if I had been to jail, if I had did drugs and all that. Um, but that was way before, what I um and I was like, no, I'm just genuinely just trying to get help, to get a car to so that way I can get a job and help get us around. And he it took him a few days, but he just calls me out of nowhere and he goes, "I got you a car." I was like, "No way." He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You just gotta find someone to bring you up here." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I got anybody, but I'll walk if I have to." Uh he was like, "I'll tell you what, I'll just come get you." And he took me up to the dealership, and um there she was, a 2005 Buick Century.
Wow.
Um, paid in cash. Um, he also gave me a 6-month advantage on my insurance.
Mm.
So I had 6 months to
Get yourself together.
yeah, get myself together, go out there and find work. And you know, I'm just forever grateful for that,
Wow.
the fact that he did that, out of kindness, out of his heart, and he didn't really know the situation, other than what I told him, and he didn't really have to do it, but he did it. And
Good man.
it gave me that opportunity to actually be able to go out there and look for a decent job. Um
Did you find something?
I'm trying to remember what was it? Um, cause it was
But you did find a job.
I I think I did. I was trying to remember what company it was. I went through so many companies. It's hard to keep up with them. But I did find one. Um, Actually, no, I remember it was a cold storage factory. I was working there, and working in those cold storages. I mean, the temperature is like -20.
Oof.
Um, and they give you this warm suit that you have to wear. And I specifically remember every night coming home, and you walk into the warm house, but you still feel the chills in your body.
Mm.
And that's probably one of the worst 2 weeks I ever dealt with. Cause every night you could go home and cuddle in bed, get real warm, but the inside of your body is not warm. You still feel that cold air, just roaming through your body. And so it was one day I called my grandmother, and I just I called her crying. I was just like, I don't know if I can handle this. And she was 100% behind me, and she was like, "I understand, you could always find something else." Um and but that's when it kind of after all that, it kind of came a point where they kind of needed someone to help them get around, you know, whether it was to the doctor or to the grocery store. Um, so, it was kind of a situation where I really couldn't work because they needed the car, they needed me to help them get around, so I sacrificed, some time, to just, be their driver basically. I knew it wasn't getting me anywhere financially, to help them, but it was helping them get around to the doctor, the heart doctor, um, just me showing them like, um, I ain't helping financially, but I'm at least helping y'all get around. Um, and you know, a- and that was pretty hard to have to give that up, to come down here to Texas and start over,
Mm.
um, cause I knew once I left, I knew that they weren't gonna be able to get around, you know, um, it still eats me up to this day, the situation they're in and my grandpa calling me all the time, man, I wish I had a car, um, y-
Did so what drove you, what made you decide, you know what, I'm moving?
it was during that whole time, um, I was on this game, um, I was playing this game, just to help me bypass time. It was called PIMD, like PIMD.
Okay.
It was kind of like a dorm college game. That's actually how I met my wife.
Mm.
She was on there, she would play it like during work or whatever. And so, talking with her daily, helping her through her situation. Um, from time to time, like I would bring up, like, we don't have no food. Like, I mean, seriously, like there were nights, the only thing we had to eat was something out of green beans out of a can that you would open it up, pour it in, put it in the bowl, throw it in the microwave, and I literally had to like switch it up, like I'll do like salt and hot sauce, just try to give it some flavor.
Mm.
Because when you eat it every single night, it's like it gets old.
Yeah.
And she there was one night, she found out, because I'm an open person, so if I'm going through something, um for the most part, I'm gonna tell somebody. And at that moment, I started worrying about my grandparents because they, with them having diabetes and, my grandmother having to take insulin shots and all that. Um, I was just like, you know, I don't really want to ask her, but, I, I got to do something. And so, um, not really knowing, her at the time, I told her the situation, and man, between her and her family, it was almost like God sent angels. And like I talked with her mom on the phone one day, and she was like, I ordered y'all a bunch of groceries from Walmart. That night, my wife had ordered us Domino's. Well, she wasn't wife at the time, but
Your
um
friend at the time.
yeah, my friend at the time, she ordered us Domino's. Um, she fed us, they bought us groceries. And from there, like, it just kind of made our relationship stronger.
Mhm.
She became like best friend kind of thing, and we just started talking and got to know each other. And she obviously knew the situation. And I just told her, I was like, man, it would be awesome if I could move down there and just start over, you know.
Oh, so she was here in DFW,
Yeah,
or
like
okay. So
she
you guys
was
met through this game without ever knowing each other?
yeah, like we just met through this game, started talking on an app called Line.
Mm.
And from that app we would FaceTime on it, or just talk. And you know the relationship got stronger. We were there for each other. And um she saw something in me. I still don't know what she saw, but she saw something in me. because at the time we didn't know each other that well. We didn't see each other as being partners. Um, and she I don't know, she saw something in me, and um this girl sends me out of nowhere, sends me like $600, um, and told me, um, you can come down here. My parents are gonna allow you to stay here. And you can go find you a job, and um they gave me the opportunity where like I didn't have to pay rent or anything. They just told me to save my money. Um and but what's so crazy is my car at the time had, I had been driving it so much that it had been going through like oil leaking, ball tires. Like I remember one night talking to her on the phone, and she had me outside taking a penny, like checking the thread on my tires, because she knew that I had planned on driving down there. And that's like an 8-hour drive. And someone driving by yourself,
Mhm.
with a oil leaking car and bald tires, and I didn't even know I was gonna make it. Um, but it just
And you made it.
yeah, like I
Wow.
made it. When I got back, I gave her the remaining amount of the money. To show her, like showed her, that I'm serious. That
You were grateful and thankful
Yeah,
for.
like, I was grateful, thankful that she, um, you know, did that for me,
Wow.
was good enough to, allow me a fresh start.
Yes.
I hated I hated doing that to my grandparents, but at the same time, it's like you're 23 years old, you know, um, most kids when they're raised, they're told, by 18, you need to know you need to know what you plan on doing with your life. Um, but I grew up, I never really know what I wanted to do.
Did you ever think about what you wanted to do, or that thought didn't even?
It I mean, I guess from everything that I went through, like I just felt like I didn't really have time to,
Mm,
process on, what
maybe you didn't even know to think about that.
yeah, like I didn't,
Yeah.
um I mean, I kind of thought about sports casting. You see the commentators on the sideline, and they're play by play kind
That
of.
inspired you, these people?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like, you know, um, man, I could do that, and go see a free basketball game, and well, actually, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm getting paid
Mhm.
to see the game. Um, but I just didn't know where to start. Um, I knew you probably had to go to school. You got to be able to be comfortable on the camera. Um, but at the time, I'm so big. I'm out of shape. Financially couldn't do it.
How I know you lost a lot of weight, but how do you remember about how much what your weight was when you moved down here?
When I moved down here, I was probably 320,
320. Okay.
330,
And
somewhere in that area.
and that was like 4 years ago, you said, right?
Yeah, it was about
About
4
4
years
years ago.
ago. And you know, she she never really brought up about my weight much during all that. But like I said, like um the overeating and all that, it was just me. It was just my way of coping with my day-to-day life.
Mhm.
And it just
So when you moved down here, it was that when you met your wife now for the first time?
yeah, like
Like met in person, I guess?
yeah, so like she would like for majority of the job. majority of the drive, she would be on the phone with me, helping me through it because, I'm scared, like I might be 23, but like I'm driving through a whole nother state, I never been to. I'm seeing Whataburger for the first time. I'm just like, what's that? I'm seeing like Chicken Express, um, and when I finally like went through Dallas, got to the Mansfield area, um, I still remember to this day smelling the pickle factory.
Pickle
I'm like,
factory.
I never grew up around a pickle factory, and seeing the roads and everything, it was so weird. Coming from a small town that literally has one highway that connects through multiple towns, and then come to the DFW, and I mean, there's so many different.
Whole new world.
Yeah, it's like wow,
Yeah.
um.
Had you been out of town anywhere outside your town before?
Well, I had we had went and picked up my brother from Alabama that time, and we drove through Alabama,
Okay.
um, which was quite funny that night. Like I literally slept on the dresser because I didn't have nowhere to sleep, and I mean sleeping on the dresser with no pillow, no comforter, no nothing, in a cold hotel with like 7 people.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, that was miserable. um,
So you get you're enlightened. You see this big old city, and then you get to her home, her
yeah,
and her parents. And how did they?
I
How did?
get there and she's actually in the driveway waiting on me. Um and I pull up and at the time like it wasn't the thought of, oh, I can probably be with her. It was just genuinely, she saw me, we got out, started talking. She started showing me around the house. Started introducing me to her family, her uncle and them. And that night and for many nights after that, I literally cried myself to sleep thinking about my grandparents and just, when the adrenaline ran off of the fact that what I did, it's like it's so hard leaving your family behind. Um, especially knowing their situation
I was gonna say.
and, it that was probably the hardest thing that I ever went through in my life. But at the same time, I saw this door open,
Yeah.
you know, and it was like,
You take it or it goes.
yeah, it was, man, I still think about it every day. The all it takes is, one thing to happen and then I'm back right back in that situation. So, I try to take every day for granted because, you never know. Um,
Yeah. So,
and
and at this time when you get here, are you both still friends, or are
yeah,
you
like,
guys dating?
no,
You're still
we were
friends.
just friends. It's a couple weeks went by, I was working at a factory over in Roanoke.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the aerial factory,
Mm.
the pant company or whatever.
Okay.
I was a packer for them and um at the time I didn't really know what temp agency was, you know. And I didn't realize I went through a temp agency and um I kid you not, I get off one day, I'm driving back from Roanoke, back down to Mansfield and I get a call talking about you're fired. And I'm just like, man, I ain't been here but 2 weeks. It's like dang, what do I do next? Um but like, but I'm gonna be honest, working in that factory, I just couldn't stop thinking about her.
Mm.
It was something about her. I don't know whether it was, her getting me out of the situation or, just being so supportive. You know, I mean, the fact that she knew my situation, she knew like this guy is literally starting from scratch.
Right.
You know, I think it was just her being so genuine, so nice. It just
She
um
was compassionate.
yeah, it like I said, like every day I would go to work, like I just couldn't stop thinking about her.
So what do
Um
you do with these thoughts?
well, I was kind of scared to say anything. Um but um I think I eventually opened up to her about it. Um and we had kind of um we took it slow at the beginning, and cuz we didn't even tell our parents, like we were literally dating and staying at her parents' house, but they didn't know we were dating. Now, I was raised, you don't do anything like that, at a parent's house, out of respect,
Right.
um, and so you know, it eventually got to that point where we were like, let's not hide it anymore. Let's be honest. And I'm gonna be honest, they wasn't thrilled at first. You know,
Oh,
you, the fact that this whole time they just saw me as this guy. He's friends with her, and they, they were just like, really, like y'all really gonna do this? And it still amazes me to this day. Being around them, like they tell me all the time, like we are really thankful that that you're with our daughter. Um, you know, because I handle her, I think for the most part pretty well. Because I think when we had talked on the phone, I told you about my wife having PMDD,
Mhm.
and the struggle she faced with that, and she also has uh what's it called? I don't think it's autism. I think it's dang it. But it's like another obstacle she has to face on the
That she dealt with.
yeah, like it's something that she has to take medicine and all that for. And you know, it was, you um never really knew what she went through, dealing with that. Cause I still to this day haven't really like sat down and read on the PMDD and the it's called Asperger's.
Okay.
She has PMDD and Asperger's. And she has a book on it.
Mm.
At our place, but I haven't really like sat down and read about it, to really understand what she goes through, cuz um she cuz one minute she could be happy, we could be sitting there watching the grassy or whatever it is on TV, and the next thing it, she's a completely different person. It's almost like a demon coming down and grabbing her, and and turning into a whole different person.
Mm.
um and I feel like, um you know if there's anyone out there listening, um and and anyone that has Asperger's or PMDD, I genuinely would love to hear, would love to hear y'all story on it, and how y'all cope with it to maybe help me cope with my wife. um
How are you currently coping?
for the most part, I personally think that I do pretty good with her. Um, but I also know, sometimes I can. I can be too much. I can push it over the edge. Cause for me, making her mad is kind of funny. You know,
You see it like on the comical side.
yeah, I see it on the comical side, but deep down inside, it's like you know, um, it almost like it's like a bomb with her. You push it too much, and then like I said, it's a completely different person.
It might just be a woman thing. No, I'm
You
just
know,
kidding.
it might, it might be because women can be a handful, but at the same time, um, us men put women through so much too. You know,
I think the thing is, and one of the things that I try to understand sometimes is that like, and you can hear it in multiple videos, I'm sure, but like men think very differently from women, and sometimes, especially if it's in the heat of a moment, it's hard. Like if you don't work on it, or you're not aware of it, and sometimes already in the situation, it's hard to be aware of it, even if you're aware of it and other times. But we see things from like our perspective, and the fact that men and women are very different and think very differently. I think like understanding that, it's already like a big like a big step, and then the next thing is just figuring out how to work together. And I think you said, you're trying, and you know how to cope with her for the most part. So
yeah, for I mean, for the most part, I do. Um, I still feel, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
mhm,
And that goes for, learning all about that. But also like I feel like and she's even told me this that I sometimes do lack communication.
mhm,
And that definitely like takes a toll on us both mentally, because it's so frustrating that, you know, um I don't feel like I lack communication, but she clearly sees it. And it's just like, what do I do? I feel like I open up to her, I feel like I try to tell her everything, but at the same time, like I keep stuff bottled up a lot.
mhm,
You know, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a part of me like, like am I afraid of what she might think? You know?
mhm.
But at the same time, it's like, you've been married to someone for 4 years, you should be okay to open up. Um and so, I feel like reading up on that with the Asperger's and the PMDD will, it would help me understand her more,
Right,
with her dealing with her problem,
right,
her mental issues as well.
right, right.
Um because with this movement and all that, I had actually asked her the other day how she was mentally,
Mm,
because I didn't want her to make it think of, I didn't want her to think that, that I was just only doing this movement for everybody else,
mhm.
and totally forget that my own wife has her own problems. So, I definitely want to make sure to ask her from time to time how she's doing.
I think it's so important. Yeah,
Because I don't want her to think that, I care about the world, but, I don't care about my own wife.
it's so sweet.
So, and that's why, I was like, how are you, how are you?
Mhm,
Um, cause I'm gonna be honest, we're going through a rough stretch right now. Cause, I genuinely do, feel like I was really made for this movement almost. Cause um making these videos, putting the content out and all that, it just genuinely makes me the happiest dude on this planet. Like,
you're enjoying it.
yeah, like it's literally like adrenaline rush. Like, like, um, I never got so comfortable behind the camera, just being
Being you.
yeah, just being me, doing, even if it's the dumbest videos, sometimes the dumbest videos are the funniest,
Yeah.
to people, like I mean, I did a shirtless video of me dancing and singing Barbie Girl, you know, just,
Yeah.
it was I literally did that just to, you know, because I feel like, someone out there is going through something and they see that video and it may make them laugh and, it may be a memory that they, that they'll always remember, that, you know, a video that they can save and go back to and, see it and, might make them laugh again.
Right.
It might be a little embarrassing, but I do it because, you know, like I say, you never know what someone might be dealing with.
Right. Yeah, because the intention, the end goal, it's higher than, say, those fears of, oh, what will people say? It's more like, i- th- th- it's more of the, hey, this is going to help somebody else. So I'll swallow whatever feelings I'm feeling, and then you get better at it, right? And then you
Yeah.
start you start kind of like those feelings to start kind of wearing off a little as you do more, which I'm sure that's been your experience. Now that you mentioned that you feel much more comfortable on camera
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff,
Like
so
it's almost like man, like I'm not afraid to do almost anything now.
yeah, as you
Although
shouldn't, right? Because there's only one live,
yeah,
that we know of anyway. So it's like 1,000 years ago, there was people here living. We're here today. This is our chance to do whatever it is that we can right now. And then once we're all past, life is gonna continue, right? So it's
right.
like, w- what are you doing now? And just do the best you can. Everything else is just really just our perception, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's the true, that it's the facts, that is what's going on. It's just how we're seeing it in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So then you break the notice to your to her parents that you guys are dating. Are you did they kick you out, or they they allowed you to keep staying there?
No, they allow me to keep staying there, to a certain point, and then but with them, their religion, to the point where like, they don't want you sleeping together until you're married. Was kind of hard for them to allow us to go and get our own apartment for the first time, but also know that, that they understand, you get two young adults in an apartment by themselves, things may happen, before the marriage part.
Right.
And they were willing to, you know, they they actually I think at that time they actually helped us financially get the apartment.
Mm.
Like they helped us get that boost, to get our first apartment. And I had at that point, I had switched to being a security officer. She was still doing her grooming. But I started doing security and that was kind of, the job I settled on for a while. Until I realized like my personality don't match to that,
Mm.
you know. Cuz I mean the things that I saw doing that and the things that I witnessed during that, you know.
Like what things?
So like I had a scenario one day, I was working and this lady, um she was on a little electric cart, coming out the store and her food stamp card didn't go through. So I just, nicely went up to her, told her, the situation, she was fine with it. But her son gets out of the car or out of the truck rather, and He's got the phone camera all in my face. Um, because it was at that time I had switched from just unarmed to an armed, so
Mm.
I was carrying. Um, and he's got the phone out all in my face, talking about you're on Facebook Live. We're witnessing this white security officer about to shoot my black mama and all that. And people don't understand how much that affects you, knowing, me personally, knowing what kind of human I am, what kind of person I am, and to hear someone like tell me that I'm going to do something like that when I know what kind of person I am, and
Mhm.
I knew how I was raised, um, because my best friend growing up was he was a black guy. He helped he actually, when my dad died, he was good enough to me that he stood on the corner at the store with me and held out a bucket, and helped us raise the funds up to bury my dad, you know, and to have this guy, basically racial profile me, I
Right.
guess that's the way you say it.
Yeah.
That, man, that hurt me so bad. Dealing with that, and then dealing with someone coming in with a gun, and the company that I was with at the time, um they didn't really train us that well on those situations,
Mm.
and people don't understand the what's the word, the the responsibility that you have to deal with, you know you being the only armed
Right.
person in that store, and someone comes in with a gun, like, you know me with my personality, like, I ain't nothing to pull out and shoot, like, um but at the same time, like I got the manager and all of them, like, they're yelling at me, like, this girl's all in the manager's face. And I'm waiting on the supervisor to come to, kind of help me through this situation, cuz it's one of those, you either fight or flight, you know.
Mhm.
And with my personality, I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Can you just let me go home? Like, I'm not trying to shoot nobody. I don't want to go to jail. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about all those scenarios in my head. I'm thinking about my wife. You know, and it just, at that moment, it that took a toll on me mentally too. Getting cussed out by the manager, being called a fat ass, um, you know, um, constantly asking me all the time, like, why'd you allow them to steal? And I'm just like, I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, I mean, I can write the report, I can call the police, but if they're gonna constantly come, it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't shoot somebody because they stole.
Right, right. And I think you mentioned it before. You didn't quite know how to handle the a situation like that, meaning like the training you mentioned that wasn't really there to prepare you for this scenario, these type of scenarios.
No, like they didn't actually. I mean, they might have like played a video in front of you, but they never actually, like, I don't really know how officers train nowadays, but they could have very at least put you in that situation, like, kind of like a live action situation,
Mhm.
so that way you could be mentally a
Mm.
lot more prepared.
Right.
Um because, like, a situation like that happens. I got all these cashiers, I got the manager, all these other store people that I'm responsible for. So if someone gets shot and killed up here, you know, I'm losing my job. I'm probably getting in trouble for, not being, for not helping in that situation. And and that job just it just mentally tore me apart.
Mhm.
Every day I just told the wife, "Please don't let me go to work today." I mean, it was literally that bad. Like, it was just
How long ago was this?
this was probably like 3 years ago
Mm,
now. But it was, man, it was so miserable.
yeah.
It was it's got to be the hands down the worst job I ever had. A lot worse than that cold storage. I'm like, I'd rather deal with the cold than this.
Yeah, and yeah, those situations are definitely for the ones that seek for it, or that like that thrill, or like that type of environment and want to help in that way. Um, but yeah, it's definitely I can see how it can be a hard, scary job,
Oh yeah.
especially after those scenarios. So when the guy came in, it a guy that came in with the gun?
No, it was a
It
girl.
was a girl.
Yeah, she came in with her girlfriend that, like, they were buying stuff. But like apparently her car didn't go through or something, and the manager and it made her mad, and so she started cussing the manager out and all that, and she had like walked back home and came back,
Oh.
and you could clearly see the pistol because she had like jogging pants on, so you could clearly see like the shape of the gun,
Mhm.
and man, my mind was just like, I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? And the supervisor comes in and he's like, um, he was walking, telling me like what areas to stand at to get ready to fire and all that, just in case she pulls it out, and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to do this.
Mm.
You know, I'm just like, can you stay and just let me go? Like, I'm just like, I don't think I'm built for this.
Mhm.
Um, it was one of those that was, at that moment, that's when you realize that job is not for you,
Right.
because you got to have that certain personality for that.
Right.
Um, Now, I will say, I still have my gun, and I feel like, in a situation, especially if my wife is put in a situation, or, a family member, or, someone's that's real close to me, you know, I ain't gonna have no choice but to do it,
Right.
but, like working for a company that, doesn't put you in a situation right, or, or you don't even get paid enough for it, because at that point, like I was getting like 15-25 an hour, um, which at the time it felt like heaven, because um, I finally got a decent paying job. We had our own apartment. You know, um, at the time it felt like everything was great.
Yeah.
But you know,
Until it came time to make some sort of action.
yeah, I said no, I can't do it no more.
So did you quit there, or did you keep working after that incident?
No, I left.
You left.
That was the line for me, cause it just, like I said, it really messed me up
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah. So, I want to go back to the when you were talking about the story where you were driving and having thoughts of suicide. How long ago was that?
That was honestly 4 or 5 months ago.
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, so it was very recent. Cause it took me to it took me into a whole nother world, you know. It was like, just imagine you walk outside like right now, it's sunny, it's a real pretty day. Um, you walk outside, it's sunny and it's hot, but you walk out there and it's dark.
Mm,
It almost feels like a different world.
really?
Yeah, it's one of the most scariest things. Because it almost feels like you're walking around with a demon in you that's changing the way that you see the world.
How were you seeing it?
It was just cloudy. It was cloudy, it was dark, it was, it almost felt like I had like I said, this demon following me around that was, telling me bad intentions, not necessarily like hurting anybody, or, anything bad, but, it was almost like telling me, it's time for you to do it kind of
Mm.
thing,
What was that? Were those the voices you were hearing in your head? It's time to do it.
basically. And it was so scary because I know my religion, and I know how I was raised. It was always God first and all that, and and to feel that, you know um just feeling that, seeing it, and knowing, like, um just talking with the wife on the phone, or even my grandparents, and they're constantly telling me, everything's fine, you know and the days only got worse when it was like, especially like raining,
Mm.
it's real cold. um you know Man, those were the hardest days. They make you want to just lay up in the they make you want to lay up, like, shut everything out, like, no lights or anything, and just sit there, in hopes of being yourself again. Um, cause like during that whole 2 weeks, or like the whole stretch that I was dealing with the depression, um, the wife, she allowed me to just stay at the house. You know, she took a beating financially, like doing extra dogs, or whatever the case may be at the time, to just allow me to get through that depression.
Mm.
But also being supportive, um but at the same time, like, we don't realize how bad that depression is affecting, that, taking a toll on your partner mentally, their self.
Mhm.
It became to the point where, when I finally got the help, and I started like finally feeling myself again, um she broke down and crying in the shower, because she was dealing with so much stuff during that stretch. And cause I mean, I don't know if y'all have experienced anything like that.
I can't think of me ever experiencing anything like that. I
Okay.
mean, I've had moments where I feel sad, and there's moments where I feel, ups and downs, but I don't, I don't, I personally don't think I've ever felt depression.
Okay.
I mean, we all have like I said, I have my sad days, and I have my days where some days are I'm more excited, other days I'm, kind of feeling a little bit more down. Um, but I can't really complain, really. I don't
Okay.
think I've, so, um, but I do know a lot of people that have been affected and their families get affected. I've seen it. I've seen even, people that I know very closely to me that have said, they've been depressed before, or they have had moments of anxiety, depression. Um, and so, but I cannot really, I don't think like even like the way you're talking, your experience, like I can feel how that's not fun, and that would not be cool. And but I don't know that that I felt that way before. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Um so like for you, like what would, like in these moments where, or when would you say that you think, maybe most recently, even when, it's staying on this topic, when you were thinking about, when you even had thoughts of suicide, how how long had you been already dealing with depression? How
Like before the
like yeah, like what led into to those moments where you were staying home and
um, it was um it was honestly it was like
or do you think you were maybe depressed all this time? Maybe that point was just
I feel like I was kind of depressed like during that whole time. Um, it all started. I kind of feel like it all started with that job. I feel like
a
that.
security job.
Well, from the security job to the when I left security, I went to DHL for about over a year and a half or so.
Mm.
And like towards the back end of that job, like right before I left there, it was a real rough patch. Um, because I genuinely just wanted to do my route, go home and be with my wife, but um, getting called all the time to, go and help someone, um, it took a toll on me mentally.
Why
Um,
do you think?
well, I already felt like, I kind of already felt like I was getting underpaid compared to others. And then, doing this extra workload, it's like, the money's nice, but when you're doing 65, 70 hours a week, it takes a toll on you mentally. And I just felt like constantly getting those calls, when I just like I'm not physically tired, but I'm like mentally tired. It's like I go and do this last pickup, I just want to get home. I just want to get home, spend time, spend time with my wife, my dogs. Um, and I just got, it just got to the point where I just couldn't do it no more.
Mhm.
And I don't really think that that really started anything, but it could have had an effect on it. Um, cause like once I left there, I was trying to call myself selling solar, but like, like that the these people that sell solar, they don't have no respect when it comes to people that have soliciting, no soliciting signs up. And with me being a good person that I am, if they have no soliciting, I don't even try to even turn my head, look at their door. I just keep going because, they have a sign up for a reason.
Right.
But this company that I was working with, they didn't care. You know, they were like, we've had people that had no soliciting signs and we would sell to them. And I'm like, yeah, until you find the wrong person, that opened up that door and they got a gun sitting there, you know, down
Yeah.
here in Texas, like they don't play.
Mhm.
Um, going through that and like, going through that whole time and, you know, knowing that like I'm doing this, but I'm not getting paid for it because all of this is commission based.
Mhm.
So, you have to try to sell it to, get paid. And, it just put us through a rough patch.
Mhm.
And I think from that and, um, you know, finally getting this other job, and I just,
Sounds
you're,
like it was just building up, like one
yeah,
thing after another. You don't really have anything stable. Everything that you're, every job you're encountering, it's like it's just not working out for you. Um,
yeah, it's like every job that I had, it's like, I just wasn't happy,
mhm.
like I could go into work, I can go do my work shift, but at the same time, it's like this is so miserable. This isn't what felt like, it's not, it doesn't feel like what I need to do, you
And
know.
do you think it was like the job, or do you think it was maybe like just like your mind, just all everything really just compounding, from your childhood, um, to where it's like it maybe unconsciously you're carrying that,
You know, that very well could have an effect.
you know?
It very well could have played a role in it. Because just from time to time, just thinking about it,
Mhm.
and just not really opening up to everybody about it. Um, because it almost seemed like every time I would like talk with my grandparents about it, especially about my older brother, in that situation and stuff, and um, it's almost like she would always give an excuse for him,
Mm.
and that he's not all the way there,
Mhm.
um, but at the same time, it's like, well, what about me, you know, um,
Did you have any like growing up at any point did you have anybody that you were inspired by or anybody you looked up to, whether it was a teacher in school or, just anybody that inspired you or that you looked up to?
not necessarily.
No.
I didn't really have. I didn't grow up like watching superhero movies or growing up we really didn't have cable. Like there was actually and I've only recently told my wife this, but there was one point where I had actually signed up cable through my grandpa's name and got like a free like a free trial through it. And they were wondering like, "Well, why is cable box here?" Um, you know, I'm just I'm just a teenager, just trying to get some cable,
Uh-huh.
wind up running up a $200-300 bill because I'm
Yeah.
just I'm like, well, I never got this, so you
Yeah.
know, um uh so it's like, I'm gonna do this, give it a shot,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So what were you doing? What were you doing or what line of work were you in when you were driving and you were having all these dark thoughts?
That was when I was doing the medical delivering.
Mm.
Um that was when, going through that and
You were delivering medical equipment?
yeah, I was delivering medical equipment, delivering like hospital beds for the patients,
Mm.
oxygen tanks, canes,
Okay.
portable, portable potties, um, man, you name it.
Mm.
Whatever's in the medical field almost.
Okay.
Nebulizer, um, I think they even did feeding bags. And I still don't know how to do that to this day. Um, but I think dealing with that and then like the thought of doing the on call, cuz like they would always have someone on call at night
Mhm.
and the anxiety of doing the on call and not really feeling like my paperwork is going to be good for this you know or not really knowing what to expect, what kind of call you're going to get. I just feel like a lot of that, that really helped push that, that yeah,
Anxiety.
that anxiety, that depression, it almost feel like it raised that level for it,
Mhm.
um and that was the moment, I was like, man, this is so miserable, and then the fact that um you're having to I'm having to go in, I'm having to take these orders, and I'm having to act like a complete different person when I walk in these patients' homes, and some of them have stage 4, stage 3 cancer, and their family are trying their best to, you know, like I say, keep pushing,
To cope.
to cope and I'm having to go in here and knowing that I'm battling this depression myself, and I have to go in these patients' home and with a smile on my face, and you know, explain the equipment to them, um, you know, go over, the rules and everything. And from there, like walking back out, like after I do their order, walk back out, and I get back in my van and like I said, like bust out in tears, and just feel like, just it just you got the support, but at the same time, you just feel like you feel alone,
Mm.
Um, but my wife was so supportive through that, She did her absolutely best, and I just feel like she saved me,
How
from it.
so?
Just just her being there,
Mm.
you know, cuz every time that I will think about the suicide, um I just saw her pretty smile, you know, um and I just knew, I knew what she did for me, what she sacrificed, like the chances she took.
Mm.
Like I could have been a serial killer,
Right.
driving down here to kill her or, whatever.
Right.
Um, and the fact that she took that risk,
Mhm.
it just thinking about that, it was almost like a timeline in my head, like I just started seeing like flashbacks, just thinking about her and, thinking about um just thinking about everything, it made me realize like, there's I got more life left,
Mm.
I shouldn't do that.
Mm.
Cuz um there were times where I just wanted to go in there and just
Mhm.
just to have it, ready. But um
So she's been your savior, sounds like. She's
yeah, she's definitely the reason why I haven't just gave up.
mm.
Because like I said, like um I still don't know how she 100% um I still don't know how 100% how she deals with her PMDD and her Asperger's and all that. And I really do need to make sure to read more about it, or or hope that someone out there could help me understand it more.
Mhm.
Because um that's my wife. I want to um I don't ever want to lose her.
Mhm.
She means everything to me. Um, it's just like every relationship, everyone has their ups and downs, but at the end of the day, when you find someone that helps you at your lowest,
Yeah.
like where I was at, at my lowest, like, you know, eating green beans out of a can, like that will make you, love someone like you never loved anyone, you
Mm.
know, because there's so many people that, that wouldn't want to be with someone because, they're not financially set, or, you know, the fact that she allowed me to just start over,
Right.
and work, try to work my way up to it.
Yeah.
It just feels like a blessing,
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great foundation to, even with the movement you started to, you know, to it's a good foundation, the fact that you guys are both supportive of each other. Of course, there's, the ups and downs of every relationship, but at the end of the day, I think there's no doubt that there is love and that there is compassion, and that you both care for each other. Even though I don't know her, just by you just describing, how she's impacted your life, I can definitely say and see how she's compassionate, she's understandable, and she loves you, because why would anybody, just deal through everything, and even like when she allowed you to stay home so you can get yourself kind of back together out of that rut, taking extra dogs to make ends meet like that, like there's no other proof than that.
I mean, I mean, there's even more proof now because I mean, it's kind of the same situation right now. Like, um, after the medical delivery, like after I left there, um, we had started to open up. Um, I wanted out so bad, so I wanted to because I knew she had the clients with her dog grooming. Um, I wanted to expand her business and allow myself to be my own boss. And so we were trying to do poop scooping, like I was trying to add like poop scooping on, dog walking, and it was something else. Um, oh, playtime with Hunter. That's what it was named. Um, we were trying to add those services, so that way, I could take on those clients and then she can take on her grooming clients.
Mhm.
But um during this whole time, there was never one person call about the poop scooping or the and all that.
The other
Even
services.
after having like the sign on the car, driving around doing Uber, no one ever called. And we for sure thought at least one of her clients, would have been interested, in the services. And so during this whole time, she's literally had been taking the brutal punch in of the financial load.
Mm.
Um, Even worse than when I was dealing with my depression, I feel like.
Mm.
Um, and I feel so bad that she's dealing with that, you know, um, and how much it's affecting her mentally and, mentally, physically, emotionally. Just, for someone having to take on so much, while their partner is figuring out how to help with it, but at the same time, like, be happy doing it.
Mhm.
um and it was at the moment when I realized, like, okay, I'm not getting no clients. So I was like, that's when I started doing the videos. And the videos just, especially after losing the weight, being on camera and doing the videos, it just clicked. I was like, I just love to do this. You know,
Mhm.
I was like, I can do this, and everything that I went through, um, I can use my videos to support for others, um, whatever mental illness that they're going through, they can come to my videos and, it could help them out, it could bring them up. Um, but at the same time, like while I'm trying to work on that, my wife is like she's going through so much,
Mhm.
having to take the like having to take on more dogs,
Mhm.
or staying out later. She knows, I'm still out and about trying to do Uber, trying to do the best I can, um but she also knows, like doing these videos and all this, like, it I've never been the happiest dude on this planet, to have someone message you and talking about that it genuinely made their day, or the fact that it saved them from attempting to do something.
Mhm.
um you know it it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, when you went through this whole episode of, okay, you're driving, you're thinking of driving, like,
Off a
off
bridge.
the bridge, um, uh, and you're having all these thoughts, and then you decide you're not gonna do it. What do you do then? Because I'm sure, like, it's not like the depression just went away. So what do you do to, like, how do you cope with it afterwards?
It started, it was almost like everything was starting to fade away, the more I started taking my medication,
Mm.
like,
So you went to
Like,
go see a
think of
doctor, or had
yeah,
you seen a doctor already?
yeah, so um I had never thought about, seeing like the one we call 'em mental doctors
Mhm.
or whatever those doctors are. Um, the thought of ever seeing one of those never crossed my mind. But I had to go see one because I needed the help.
Was it a doctor, like a, or was it like a therapist
No, it was
type, or?
just like a primary care doctor, but like they deal with, the people that need like the bipolar medicine or ADHD or
Okay.
um, one of those doctors. Because it was a complete new experience for me because it wasn't one of those doctors where you walk in and they got the table ready for you, where you can sit on the table or whatever. Like it was literally like when you walk in, it looks like an office where there's, a couple seats, and then there's a doctor behind a glass or especially like during COVID, they
Mm.
put those things up. But like, it was like, you know, it was during all that, talking with them
Mm.
and after they put me on the medication, which they had already told me like it was gonna take more, a couple weeks before it to really start working. Um, they it was, how I mentioned, like if you walk outside, it'd be sunny, but it looks dark.
Mhm.
Like as days progressed, um, it almost had looked like the sun started peeking through the clouds. You know,
Mm.
even with it being sunny out there, it just, things just started looking different. But in a good way.
Mm.
You know, I started feeling like a lot happier. Talking with the wife, um everything started to feel fine.
Okay.
You just start feeling yourself again,
Okay.
like before, before that dark period that you go through. Um, you just feel like you felt before you went through that.
Mhm.
Um, which, it's I guess it could be different from for everybody. Um, but it was it was crazy. It
Yeah.
was
So tell me about your weight loss, because you lost 100 pounds. So when was that, and how did that happen?
so it kind of all started like I said, like a week before Thanksgiving,
Mm.
which
How long ago? Like
um
what year?
it was last year,
Oh, last year.
yes ma'am. And like I said, it was like a week before Thanksgiving. You know, me and the wife, we started talking about it and all that. And at the time, it didn't really hit me that, I had got so big. But um seeing myself through the picture, or even a mirror, um, it was like, man, you really have gotten real big. Because like I told you, like people don't understand, like you can hide this food, from your spouse or your family or whoever it may be, but if if your body isn't burning that stuff off, like you might be able to hide it right then, but they gonna see it.
Mm.
They gonna see it
It
eventually.
compounds.
Yeah, they gonna whether it's your thighs, your stomach, your face, whatever the case may be, they gonna see it. If you're not out there burning it out, running or exercising or you know, um,
Burning it.
yeah, like that's kind of when it really hit me, like like yeah, I'm hiding it from her, but she's seeing it.
Mm.
That's why she she basically pulled me to the side and was just like, "You got to do something." 'Cause she was like, um, "I want you long." She was like, "I want to be married to you long term. Not short term,
Mm.
because you know at I had got so big, I was on my blood pressure medicine. Um, I was supposed to been taking that every day, but most days I wouldn't take it. And going to the doctor all the time, they kept telling me, "You're on stroke level. You're on stroke level."
Mm,
And that, you know, having high blood pressure, it's already a silent killer.
mm,
Because you feel fine, but you go to the doctor and they check your blood pressure and they're telling you, you may have to go to the hospital because you're at probably one of the highest levels. They're telling you, you could have a stroke at any second, you could have a heart attack.
mhm.
That is scary to hear, you know. Um, and hearing that from the doctor, and then having my wife constantly on me, which at the time it felt like, you know, it felt like I couldn't just be me. I
Mm.
couldn't just eat what I want. I couldn't enjoy life. But now when I look back on it, it's like she just wanted to, she just wanted me to
Be
feel,
around.
yeah, be around, feel better, look better.
Mhm.
Um, I already like now, like going through that time, losing all that weight. Like now, I tell her all the time, like you don't need that. That's carbs. I had gotten so serious with it that I tried messing with her. I mess with her when she eats her fried chicken or whatever. Um, you know, uh, but
So what, she pulls you aside and has a conversation like, "Hey, Hunter, like, we need to, do something about this weight." And so what do you do next?
so you know, I just started looking up like companies or whatever the case may be, and um, she had mentioned that she knew a friend, or she like had a friend on Facebook that was doing like OptiV or whatever, and um, at the time we were lucky that we were able to afford it, but um, she told me about it. I contacted her friend, um, and we talked on the phone, about the program and everything, and she got me set up, have got my first box and all that, um, because it's basically prepackaged food, that you eat like five, you basically eat like 6 meals a day, but five of them are through the company,
Mm,
and
through the prepackaged
yeah,
food.
prepackaged, whether it's like most time, a lot of stuff is like prepackaged bars, or um there was like macaroni cheese like in a packet that you put water in, which is nasty by the way. Because I had to use a ton of seasoning. Like everything was tons of seasoning, like
No
um
flavor.
no flavor. Like it was like it oh man, it was, I tell you what, it was one of the hardest things I had to do, because I had to sacrifice a lot of fast food, a lot of, you know,
What you were used to.
yeah, what I was used to, like waking up and getting my sweet tea, or good old coffee with a ton, 5 spoonfuls of sugar. Um
Mhm.
that was another thing that I really had to give up, was um that was another issue I had, was which I still struggle with, my drinking my my zero sugar drinks,
Mhm.
but back then it was the sugar ones.
Mm.
It was the regular Pepsi or the regular Dr. Pepper. And I was, when I was especially my DHL days, um I was I was drinking 1.5 liters, um, you know, 4 or 5 a day
Of Coke?
of whether it's Coke, Pepsi,
Oh.
and now when
Not the sugar-free or the diets?
no, no, like, and when I, looking back now and seeing, you see how the sugar-free one is, 0 grams of sugar,
Mhm.
and, and looking back on it now and thinking, all that sugar that I was putting in my body,
Right.
that's what was that was, when you have a certain body type that doesn't really process sugar well, like I do, um, that's part of the reason why I had gotten really, really big. Drinking that many a week, which I said, I still drink my sugar free ones, and I'm still kind of pretty bad on it, but at the same time, like, it allows me to get my drink, my acidic kind of drink.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like, it's not, it's
Doing that same damage.
yeah, it's not doing the same damage.
Mm. Yeah.
I know some people, can say, like, even my wife is like, aspartame is, it's just as bad. I'm like, well, I mean, there's ton of people that say, the ones that drink that, um, they work out, they do all this and that, and it doesn't affect their weight loss. Um, but you know, making that switch, and then, making my eating habit switch. Um,
Were you able to stay on that Optavia plan?
yeah, so I stayed on that for about, I'm gonna say about 3 or 4 months,
Mm.
or s-
How many pounds did you lose?
man,
In about 4 months, you said?
yeah, let's see, November, I went December, January, February, March. We in July, right?
Mhm.
Um, okay, I'm gonna say about 6 months. That's when I lost about 85 pounds or so. Um, it eating their food, doing their plan, um, which you don't have to do any exercise.
Mm.
You just literally eat their food, um, cause you eat the fueling every 2 hours.
Mhm.
So every 2 hours you would either eat, mac and cheese, their mac and cheese, or their little chocolate bar, or it's basically, you're just fueling your body basically. That's why they call
Mhm.
it fueling,
Mhm.
because you're not overeating, you're not eating two supersonic burritos from Sonic.
Mhm.
You're eating this little bar that's just giving you just enough energy for you to make it to your next 2 hour,
Mhm.
you know. But by that point, your body's already broke it down. And by that point, you basically have used that bar for the energy. And having that, being able to eat that the 5 times, and then coming home and getting to eat, my grilled chicken with my asparagus and all that, it really allowed me to, allow my stomach to shrink,
Mhm. Mhm.
but not just my stomach, but my thighs, my legs, even my face. Man, I could show you pictures of my old self, when I was at my heaviest, and like it was like probably out here. Um, but
How much did you weight at your heaviest?
I think it was around 360. Um,
Mm.
three 354, 355, close to 360, I suppose. Um, and I did Optavia for that long. But like I said, it's so expensive.
Mhm.
300-400 a month. Um, but you're basically, you're the only food you're having to buy is, your dinner.
Oh, yeah, right.
So you're basically taking out a lot of the groceries you would buy,
Right.
but you're just paying for it all at one time.
Makes sense.
Um, so you just buy your, whatever you're gonna eat that night, which they actually have, like, meals that you can eat. That they
Like recipes
Yeah,
or
like, they have
okay.
recipes, like, you make their recipes, and it gives you enough food where, it doesn't make you feel sluggish. It's just they know the right amount.
Yeah. So when like, did you when you started losing weight, did you start feeling different and feeling better? Or
Oh, my energy has been through the roof. I'm
mm,
gonna be honest. I've never felt so much energized in my life.
wow.
Um, like I don't feel sluggish anymore. I don't feel um I haven't really had any back pain lately.
Mm,
Um, with all that weight off of me, like my
makes sense. You don't have to carry all this extra 100 pounds on
yeah,
your body, on your bones.
yeah, and
Through
like
with
I'm starting to move faster.
mm.
I just it's amazing how weight loss can really make someone feel like and now my confidence like to the through the roof.
Mm.
Um, you know, um my self-esteem is through the roof.
Mm.
I know I still got work to do, but it's when you look back on what you used to be and then you see yourself now and you see the sacrifice you went through. It's amazing. It's truly amazing how weight loss can make you feel like when you look at the old self and you look at yourself now, it's just like, who is that guy? You
Yeah.
know? It's like,
You even think different. You look differently and you think differently now,
yeah, it's like,
and you feel differently.
yeah, and it's like, and now like I see food different now.
Mm.
You know, like my old self would used to go to you know, I would go to Chicken E and I would get, the biggest combo I can get. You know, I haven't recently had Chicken E since the weight loss,
Mm.
but like, if I did, I wouldn't have to go get the biggest thing anymore. You
Mm.
know, like um like earlier today I ate something from Jack in the Box, right? Um, some people would get the 6 piece or whatever, chicken strip. I
Mhm.
only need 3 piece now, you
There you
know,
go. Yeah.
and like that's I get that with like a diet drink, and you know, as long as you know your macros,
Mm.
which not lately, but I had been using the MyFitnessPal,
Mhm.
and because I had the free trial, and oh man, if you're trying to lose weight, you gotta try MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
Cause I'm telling you, it is a game changer. It gives you the macro numbers for your daily, and you would be surprised how much food you can actually eat. And
Yes.
and if it's telling you that you can have 1,600 calories, and you, you still can go have your fast food. Just
If
don't
you
go.
stay within your goals,
Yeah,
your daily
stay.
goal.
Yeah, it allows you to like, put in McDonald's for a McDouble, and you can still have your McDouble for the day, but you may have to sacrifice something else,
Or like the fries, sacrifice the fries, not eat the fries.
Well, a lot of people actually still eat the fries
Mm.
because um it's as long as as long as you're not overdoing the carbs or the fats, from the fries, like if you were going to eat a fry for lunch, you know, um eat your yogurt for dinner,
Mm.
you know, which
Mhm.
is, the triple zero triple yogurt, whatever it's called.
Mm.
I can't pronounce it, but I can spell it. It's like OIKOS. It's like a yogurt company.
Okay.
But they have like the triple zero. It's like 80 calories for this big little container.
Mhm.
But it's just like, little things like that you can substitute
Right.
that, after you eat it, you still can feel full the same way you feel full from those small fries.
Right.
Um, it's just like, you know, you still can enjoy some things, but you still gotta sacrifice some things,
Definitely.
you know.
Yes.
But it's like, are you willing to do it to lose it? And that was something that,
Mhm.
it took me a long time to realize is, you may be sacrificing it, but you're not sacrificing it for your life, your whole life. You still can have it, just don't overdo it.
It's control,
Yeah,
right?
it's all about control.
So, and which leads to like self-discipline, being self-disciplined to only have the portion that you tell yourself it's okay to eat for the day,
Yeah.
right? So it's definitely self-discipline for a lot of things. Yeah. So after so when you decide to like no longer continue with Optavia, I know it's a little pricey. That you learned a lot, and did you continue staying in some sort of a diet or
Yeah,
something?
that's when I downloaded my Fitness Pal.
Mm.
I did the calorie calculator online.
Mm.
Put in my current weight. I put in my my height. It gave me this calorie number, that basically states, like you could lose 1 to 2 pounds if you eat, in between this number.
Mhm.
And I basically took, that number, I put it into my Fitness Pal, and I put like my goal, what my weight goal would be, and that app is magical. It gives you your carbs for the day, and literally everything you eat, you can scan the package,
Mhm.
and it takes your numbers from you, and like, you know, um, and during that time, my wife will still get on to me because she's like, "You're eating again," and I'm just like, "I still got 18 carbs left. I'm finna use these carbs, And she's like, "Well, do you need it?" I'm like, "Not really, but I mean, if it's available, I'm gonna take it." It's almost like having 18 extra dollars in the bank account, you know, because because in a certain way your body is like a bank account, you
Yeah.
know. Your body has so many numbers when it comes to food and drink, and and all that. And so, I was just like, I saw that 18 grams. I'm like, hey, that's a yogurt, it's, and like I tell her, it's not like I'm having, a McDouble from, McDonald's.
Mhm.
I'm just substituting something healthy, might
Yeah.
have some fruit or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But, I use that app, and every day started tracking my breakfast. I would have my protein, you know I started really getting into the protein stuff,
Mm.
protein shakes, protein bars. We I just talked her into doing Sam's Club, and got the big things of protein drinks and bars, and so that was basically like a lot of my meal replacement.
Yeah.
After getting off the Optavia, I started doing like high protein, low carb, low calorie kind of diet, buying the zero carb tortillas,
Mhm.
um, you know, because you still can have the bread, but it's just, it's it's replacing the 150 calorie bread for the 40 calorie.
Just selected,
Yeah,
selective about.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's like, it's like you can still enjoy these things, just make adjustments.
Mm.
It's all about adjusting to a more healthier lifestyle.
Definitely.
And you can, like I said, you still can go have your McDonald's, whatever restaurant you go to, you can still have it. Just be careful on what you eat,
And how much?
and how much.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. And
Uh-huh.
that's something that the wife drilled in my head
Mm.
all the time is portion control, portion
Mm.
control. And part of me, I was so hard headed, and I still have my moments.
Aren't we all hard-headed at times?
Yeah, and I still have my moments where, I might have an extra bag of Takis, or which, are the mini ones,
Mm.
cause
Again, being selective, get the
yeah,
mini
yeah,
ones.
get the mini ones, and um, don't because with the mini ones, it allows you to still have your Takis but not overdo it.
Mm.
And that's what I learned a lot about this journey is, you know you gotta be selective. Be
Mhm.
careful what be careful what you select, but at the same time, like, you don't have to completely cut everything out.
Right. And, essentially you're adding years to your life, being even being already warned by the doctor, and you're not only just putting yourself in a healthier path, but like educating yourself throughout the process. You just learn so much.
Yeah, I swear that plan has taught me so much about nutrition facts,
Mm.
and it got me to the point now where like I get on to the wife literally. She's um which fun fact about my wife is she was actually born with the ability not to smell,
Mm.
so it interferes with her taste buds. So like one drop of pepper can literally be like a habanero to me. So if she eats that one little drop of pepper, it's like a habanero to her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like we haven't really been able to like cook something together. Um uh cuz a lot of times, I forget that she can't have seasoning. So,
Mm.
you have to kind of adjust, like I have to make something that's unseasoned, and then have mine that's seasoned.
Mhm.
But with her taste buds, so different, you know, the foods that I love, she may not like it all.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like another challenge, being married to someone, that doesn't have the ability to smell. And I tell her all the time, like, I really wish you could try Chinese food. I was like, cause I don't know. I was like, cause like I'm telling you, if you could eat it, it would be, you would love it.
Mhm.
But that at the same time, like that's what, my old
Can't
self,
control it.
I ain't gonna lie, my old self would go to Chinese place, and I would get off work, go by the Chinese place like China King over there on South Cooper.
Mhm.
I stop by there and get me a plate, and I promise you, 3 pounds of it, about $22. I go home, I'll throw on YouTube, and I'll eat that whole plate. And trust me, it bit me in the end.
Yeah.
I didn't, like I tell you, you don't realize, you sitting there eating that whole 3 pounds of food, you know, you don't realize what it really does to your body,
Mhm.
and at the time, like I was like, oh, it'll be fine, it won't affect me. Like, I'm not gonna gain the weight from it. Then, next thing you know, like the wife is, she's noticed,
Mhm.
she noticed from the hugs. It's the little things that, people don't realize, um, that, from a hug to a kiss to whatever the situation is, like, you know, people notice.
Yeah.
They may not say anything right then, but,
Right.
you know,
Well, and I think, we notice too, but then, it may take a while. And I think sometimes, and I say that because, I lost myself. I mean, I lost 50 pounds. I mean, it's not 100 pounds, but it's still something where I had to get disciplined with, with my choices of food, right? So,
right,
and it's like, yeah, maybe there's a point where you're not really thinking about it. You're just eating as, you're living. But then it gets to the point where, or at least for me, it got to the point where like I knew that the path that I was on, it was only going to get worse,
right,
you know? I mean, I'm sure people around me noticed um my weight gain, but like my husband never told me anything. He always was, loved me as the first time, never said a word, but I'm like, no, like this for me, right? It was like, no, this is not. And so I understand, like, I understand, like having to say no to the stuff to all that good, delicious stuff you had yesterday or you had for the past couple of years. Um, it is hard. So that's very admirable for you, and hats off to your wife that literally just saved you, basically. She's like, "Hey, this is no longer about like looks or anything. This is about your health and about
Yeah, it was.
having you here longer so that not, so to try to prevent from a day, something happening and it's like
Yeah,
shoulda, coulda, woulda."
and and I that was something else that I really wanted to preach about is you know losing weight can be so beneficial for your mental health.
Mhm.
Cause it just it puts you in better moods. It brightens you up. Like, you lose that weight, it makes you want to go out there and take a walk, to
Right.
clear your mind. It just it helps you to keep moving, so you can try to keep your mind off of things.
And this is all this whole weight loss was without exercise.
Yeah, without exercise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I've only recently, started doing, and that's what the videos they helped me start doing push-ups, um, and they every day I was doing my push-ups like last week I think I maxed out like 42.
Nice.
And like the fact that I never been able to do 42 push-ups,
No
you
kidding.
know, um, those videos generally helped,
Yeah.
just, because it was like helping me physically, but it was also, someone else see it, it was helping them, you know, and seeing the positive reactions from people that see it,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously you're gonna have your haters, you're gonna have the people that,
The naysayers,
yeah,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like I had one lady, well, what's that doing for cancer, and I'm just like, well, it's doing more than what you're doing.
Right,
Oh,
it's raising awareness.
and then I had another guy. He was like, why can't you just take the money and just donate to the cancer place and just call it a day? And I'm like, well, what's that gonna do? Yeah, I mean, it may help toward cancer research, but you know, um, they're not understanding what this movement was really, what's it really about?
Yeah.
It's about, um, like I said, we don't know what people are going through mentally. People don't understand. People don't know how it feels to, walk into a doctor's appointment and for the doctor to sit down and tell you that you got stage 4 cancer, you know, and how hard it is for you to want to keep going, because you don't have you don't know how much time you got left on this earth,
Mhm.
and um uh, I meant to tell you this, but my grandmother actually had breast cancer.
Mm.
She was one of the reasons why I got behind the movement. Um, she's she still has to see the doctor. She still has to take her cancer medicine. Um, but she's starting to do better as far as cancer.
Mm.
She's going through the remission process. Um, but I actually recently found out that a lady that I grew up and I called her like a mother figure. She's got stage 4 bone cancer. And it's eating her alive. And when I heard about that, it made me want to put the videos out even more. You know, whether it's through my push-ups or the, doing my funny stuff. It was all about awareness. Because we don't know what people are going through. And to hear her, for me to hear her find out that she's got that, And the fact that I found out while I was doing this awareness, like,
Mm.
it gave me that extra, you know,
Push.
that extra push. Yeah, it's like, you know, um, now I have like even more reasons to, want to do it, you know, because people ask me all the time, like, uh, you know, we know why you're doing this, but like, do you got family that's, that's dealing with it? And I'm like, yeah, like my grandmother had breast cancer. My grandpa, he gets these skin cancers on him, which can lead to actually, like bigger cancers.
Right.
And then to find to hear that, a lady that I grew up, she's like another mother figure to me,
Right.
to hear her suffering through that, it made me realize like, you know, it's this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like um I want to build this thing up into a big community, and bring us together, whether, it don't matter what you're going through, drug addiction, cancer, PTSD. There's a lot of war veterans out here. Um, um, there was a lady, she contacted me on Facebook. Um, I think it was either Facebook or TikTok. Um, she, I can't remember what veteran community it was. But she helps like the veterans, the ones that went through the war and came back,
Mhm.
and they're dealing with the um
PTSD.
yeah, all those
Mhm.
mental. Um, she had actually asked me to shout her out, but I can't remember what.
What her name is?
Yeah, what her name is and the foundation she's doing.
Okay.
If she does hear this, I do apologize. But I did attempt to
Bring it up.
yeah, bring it up.
Okay. Is that here in DF in Mansfield,
I
Arlington?
don't think it is,
Okay.
but the fact that like she's doing it wherever she's at,
Right.
and then she sees my movement, and that's like two different movements. You put that together, and that helps build the whole foundation up.
For sure, for sure. So, with the movement you're on, where I know you're putting out videos and you're raising awareness and you're doing everything that you can, and it's bringing you quite a bit of joy, and you're touching people's lives. What do you think the next and this may be a little bit down the line, but where would you like to take your platform, or what would you want to like make it um what would you like it for it to become, you
Uh,
know?
I want it to be I want it to be one big community,
Mm,
where the platform isn't just about me, like it's about people's stories. Like I want to take this as big as like opening up a big arena,
mm,
and just have us all come to that arena, and just let our feelings out, hug each other, you know, like a big old, how they like to do in church,
mm-hmm.
everybody get together, and just talk and just hang out and just love each other as a human being, and not have to worry, not have to feel like you're being judged or, you know, and also have like events and stuff, like a charity basketball game, all that's raising, for raising awareness,
Yeah,
um, you know, whatever, whatever kids like too, um, my goal is just to bring the community together and,
mm,
do things together that, it's helping us get through our day-to-day life.
definitely.
Um,
So I do know that that's I hope that the path you're in, that you really stay focused and stay doing it. One, because I feel like it's doing a lot of good for your mental health. You're because you're doing this and it's bringing you happiness. It sounds like,
Yeah, like,
you're
I'm serious.
yeah.
I haven't I swear I've not felt the happiest person, like, before doing this, like, every day was a struggle.
Mm.
And now it's like I wake up with a smile on my face.
There's something that you're inspired by every day you wake up, which
Yeah,
is yeah,
and
I love
it's
that.
and the thrill of having someone contacting you and telling you, you know, your video saved my life,
Mm,
you know, or or like every video you put out, they comment and say, keep up the great work. That
yeah,
these videos are touching people. Um, you know, a lot of my family and even her family don't really see eye to eye with it when it comes to like doing the content, but at the same time, like I'm seeing it.
yeah.
I'm seeing what it's doing.
Yeah. Well, and like, you can have, a job as you're working on your career, which is, content creating. And you can do multiple things, especially with all the energy you have now after losing 100 pounds.
Oh man, I might go run a marathon with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's like, I think that the biggest thing is that you have something that you're excited about. And a lot of times it's hard for us to, figure out what that is. Um, and hence mental health, and then people get into this rut. But once you find something that inspires you and that you love doing, it take advantage of that because it can be a game changer. But what I was going to say is that, yeah, like, I hope you really don't, stop, being a podcaster and the stuff that I even researched before even making a podcast. Like, it's just it's going to be, it's a long journey. And well, in my case, I don't plan on stop recording podcast at all. I'm curious to know where this, leads to.
Sorry.
That's okay, but the key thing, what I'm trying to get to, is for you to like to not stop. Regardless of what the naysayers say, or if it makes you happy. I think that's it can't that's just optimal. You want to do something that inspires you. And creating content and stuff, there's 24 hours in a day, and sure, you have to sleep some, but there's enough time to take care of yourself, to take care of your household, and then still do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I've been trying to like go live more on the TikTok, in hopes that people come in and they just see the genuine me,
Yeah.
you know, like cuz you can post a video out, and they just see you for that video, but they don't really see you, sitting in your living room, you know, um, trying to just talk with them, interact,
Right.
and just showing them who you are as a person.
Yeah. And the key thing there is going to be consistency. Like, if people are saying with whatever it is that they're saying, it's like the best way to respond is by keep putting more content and putting more awareness. That's, if these people are saying those things, and not that it matters anyways, but if anything, I think it's more fuel to keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
the people that need to hear, the people that understand and that can understand where you're coming from and why you're doing it, um, you know, they're the ones, that's all that matters. And so,
And I want to say one of the supporters that's always she messages me all the time. She's kind of like the mom of TikTok for me.
mm,
Um her name is Jayhawk. She she told me this one saying, and it just stuck in my head. She said, once you enjoy doing something that makes you happy, you never work another day in your life.
mm-hmm,
And that saying just it stuck,
mm-hmm,
cuz it's like this just genuinely makes me the happiest dude.
Yeah.
But I also know that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Mhm.
And that for the time being, like um, I know where my goal is now. And that I need to do whatever means necessary to, you know, until it's reached that point. You
Yes.
know, I gotta do what it takes. So
I agree. I agree, and I'm so happy that you got into a healthy path that I think kind of cleared up some mind, that your mind a little bit, and makes you feel better, and you have the energy, and so I'm so happy to hear that you did that. I'm so happy I got to hear your story, and I hope you continue on that path as you
and I,
know.
and I'm so thankful that you allowed me to come on and share my story with the world.
Of course. Thank
And
you for being open and, opening up with, all the experiences you had. It's
I might be cringy coming back to listen to it, but
stay true to your word, which is keep pushing,
oh
you
yeah,
know.
that's gonna be my
I
slogan.
like it.
I want to one day get merch for it.
Yes, I like it.
Especially anyone that's going through something. I'm hoping to one day be able to do that.
Yes,
Whether it's through my TikTok or my YouTube.
definitely. I
Um,
think so.
cause my YouTube is gonna have the interviews.
Mhm.
Um, it's gonna have the people's story.
Yes.
And they can listen to it in hopes that it may help them.
For sure, for
Um,
sure.
but
And I every episode I end it with one question. And that is, what is your personal definition of happiness?
my personal definition
Definition.
of
What
happiness.
does happiness mean to you? What does that look like?
It's a good question. Um, Happiness is for me, um, just I never got asked that before.
Really?
Yeah, I've never. Well, cause the videos make me happy, but um, I guess my definition would be, you know, um, s- for me, my definition of happy is, you know, when you can love yourself for who you are, you know, offer on the camera, or if you can be yourself around someone, then and not feel like you're being judged, then it just shows, like, that's my definition of me being happy,
Mm.
because I'm not worried about what the naysayers may say.
Hmm.
um you know that's basically, I guess, is kind of my definition of it.
Yeah, yeah, and
uh
everybody's. There's been several people that sat on that chair. Everybody has different answers. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's yours.
yes,
Yours.
ma'am.
So, okay, beautiful. Well, Hunter, thank you again for being here. I wish you the most success with your channel, with your movement, and I
Can I
hope you,
can I
yeah,
sh- can I shout it out?
yeah.
Those listening or watching, the channel name is Spreading Awareness for Us, the number 4.
Mm,
Just how it's spelled, but with the number 4.
okay,
Cuz I genuinely wanted it to be about spreading awareness, whether it's, through my motivational, keep going videos, or my push-ups, or even my funny stuff. So,
I love it.
I just generally wanted me to, be about me. Me just being me, just trying to bring somebody up.
Yes. So, everyone, please be sure to check out Hunter, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.